It is week 15. Week 15 in the NFL. And it is once again time to look at where all the teams stand in the NFL Power Rankings. We begin at the bottom and work our way up, talking about every team in the NFL. At 32, it's the New York Giants, who lost to the Saints, who barely have enough human beings to put together an NFL roster. But at least the defense showed up. Kinda. But it's just so bad out there. The New York Jets almost pulled off an upset win over the Miami Dolphins, but they keep losing. They come in at number 31. At 30, the Tennessee Titans. That was an ugly, gross, disgusting, awful loss to Jacksonville. And so they are one of the bigger falls this week in the power rankings. It's gotten bad out there in Tennessee. At 29, it's the Raiders. They've hung with a couple of good teams the last little bit, but they keep finding ways to lose, which as a Raider fan, I appreciate. And then at 28, it is Jacksonville. Still with no Trevor Lawrence. It looks very ugly out in Jacksonville right now. And so our bottom five, again, Jacksonville at 28, Vegas at 29. You have Tennessee coming in at number 30. I'll just slide that over there a little bit. Whatever. Sorry. You have Tennessee in there at 30. The Jets coming in at 31 and the Giants there at 32. And so what we like to do each week, if this ended up being the final standings, which I don't think it would, but if this ends up being the final standings, how would we look at the quarterback position in the draft? The Giants, no doubt about it, 100% lock, are drafting a quarterback. Jets, that would be such amazing drama. If Aaron Rodgers was like, yep, coming back. And the Jets were like, cool, here's Cam Ward. It would be just delightful if that happened to him in a second spot. 30, Tennessee, they are 100% taking a quarterback. 29, the Raiders, I think so too. It's just a matter of who. And this is where we'll get into more draft stuff, probably at the end of the NFL season here. But right now, it doesn't feel like there are this many legitimate quarterbacks out there. And so again, the demand is going to far outweigh the need, in my opinion. So some drama at the quarterback spot and potentially some really bad picks coming from NFL teams. And then at 28, it is Jacksonville. I don't think they'll be taking a quarterback in this year's draft. Outside of our bottom five, it is the New England Patriots. They didn't play this week, so there you go. At 26, it's Chicago. Had to drop them a little bit further down after just getting beaten down by San Francisco's B team. That was not great. That was one of those like, oh, this is getting concerning type of a loss for Chicago. At 25, it is the Cleveland Browns. Plucky as they may be, they got worked over pretty strong by Pittsburgh there last week. At 24, it's New Orleans. They get a win. It's against a bad team, and everyone is hurt, so we're not going to totally buy into them right now. At 23, it is the Carolina Panthers. They're having good competitive losses, and with New Orleans having the injuries that they are having, I feel like we can move Carolina above them a little bit and just at least reward them for starting to pull their way out of the doldrums there. At 22, it is Dallas, a tough loss there on Monday Night Football. 21, it's San Francisco, big win, but against the Chicago team. And again, injuries continue to pile up for this team, so not necessarily a group that we're taking overly seriously. At 20, it's Atlanta. They continue to free fall. The Kirk Cousins conversation, it's getting louder and louder and louder as he continues to look worse and worse and worse as the season goes along. This was supposed to be the time where he was coming out of the injury and starting to hit his stride, and instead he just looks old and slow, and Michael Penix is just waiting back there in the wings. At 19, it's the Colts coming off of their bye. 18, Cincinnati coming up with a win on Monday Night Football. The season probably done for them, but nice to see that they can still put up some strong performances. At 17, it's Arizona, hanging around the playoff picture, but a really tough loss to Seattle on Sunday afternoon, dropping them back. At 16, it's Tampa Bay, wins a win. They move on and are now in the driver's seat in that division. At 15, it's the LA Rams. I still have no idea what this team is. On any given Sunday, their defense can look awesome or look terrible. The offense can look like it can't even barely move, or they can put up 40 some odd points. When all aspects of this team are working, this is a really good football team, I think. It's just they never all work at the same time. But that was a heck of a win by the Rams over the Buffalo Bills. At 14, it is the Miami Dolphins. needed some late game heroics into overtime, saving Jonnu Smith's fantasy day in overtime and coming up with a big win there. At 13, it's Denver. 12, Houston. 11, Washington. Those teams on bye. At 10, it's the LA Chargers. I can't really drop them after coming a doink away from beating the Kansas City Chiefs. I feel like this team is really starting to hit their stride. And I think that good things are ahead here for the Chargers. At 9, it is the Green Bay Packers. It's a tough loss, so I had to drop them a little bit. I like this team, but every week they show me something that I just can't fully get behind. At 8, it's Minnesota. I'm officially buying in again. A dominant win over the Falcons, lots of great weapons around Sam Darnold, and even if Sam Darnold turns into the pumpkin that we expect him to, you have a really well-coached defense, and you have a lot of talent on the offensive side that it would be tough for him to kind of screw things up a little bit. So I'm a believer on the Minnesota Vikings. It just took, 11-2, the record or something like that? Just took them that to get me there. At 7, it's Seattle. I'm a believer. You guys, if you were following all season long, the season previews, I was in on Seattle, and now it didn't take a whole lot for me to have to buy in again. The defense is getting healthier. The offense has a lot of really exciting weapons now, and so I think that this is a team that not only can win the division, they're certainly in the driver's seat for that now, but is also a team that I think is going to give the kind of upper echelon in the NFC a little bit of a scare in the postseason. At 6, it's the Baltimore Ravens. Now we get into our top 5. Coming in at number 5, it is the Pittsburgh Steelers. I came really, really close to moving them up. I still just don't view them as a team that is locked into that top tier yet. But they are getting there. That defense is dominant, and Russell Wilson has just found something out in Pittsburgh with Mike Tomlin. This has been a hell of a coaching job for Mike Tomlin, and he has got that team playing some excellent football. At 4, it's Kansas City. They keep finding ways to win. It keeps not being impressive and keeps scaring some people, but I am going to keep believing in this team going into the postseason. At 3, it is the Buffalo Bills. That was a wild loss. The defense is a question, but it is, I think, pretty obvious that Josh Allen is just like, we knew for a while he's awesome, but it feels like he has leveled up, and the MVP trophy that he's going to win feels like it's going to be fairly well deserved. At 2, it is the Philadelphia Eagles. A bit concerning that it took so much to beat Carolina. A win's a win, but after the way last year went, those types of games give you a bit of a pause, but not enough for me to drop them below Buffalo or Kansas City right now. And then at number 1, the Detroit Lions, another strong win against another good team. So our top 5 this week, at 5, it is the Pittsburgh Steelers. At 4, it is the Kansas City Chiefs. 3, we have Buffalo. At number 2, it is Philadelphia. And then number 1, the Detroit Lions, as the power rankings remain the same coming into week number 15 in the NFL season.